So what have I learned during my first 6 months as a web developer? I'd say the main thing is AngularJS, the framework that I learned during my bootcamp. It was the framework that I was building all my projects in when I was looking for my first job, and it's also the main framework we use at my current job. I'd say using that framework every day has just made me understand it, the ins and outs. I can now do stuff with it, obviously, that I couldn't do before. I understand a lot better how it works, how it's built. I understood JavaScript a whole lot more than how I did when I first started. So I can really feel that my programming skills, my skills as a programmer, have really advanced in the last 6 months. I'd say another thing that I've learned really well in the last 6 months how to work with is a program called JIRA for project management. So whenever we're working on something, we have a ticket in the system that you can track your progress, and you can track other people's progress of how things are coming along. And it works hand in hand with the Agile sprint methodology. So a sprint is basically when you work in a 2 or 3 week cycle of constant development, QA, back to development, fixing bugs, adding new features. And it works hand in hand with this software JIRA, that's all the time going back and forth, like ping pong basically, between development and QA. And at the end of that 2 or 3 week cycle, you then take a step back and look at what was achieved and see if all the targets were met. I'd say my interpersonal skills have also really expanded during my time as a developer, or my time professionally as a developer. I can feel quite confident when sitting with my manager or my other team members speaking about new features or how something should be implemented. I feel quite confident now to give my ideas forward as a solution and not be afraid to think, oh, they might think I'm not good enough, or I might not think that my ideas are good enough. So it's been also a bit of a stressful 6 months. I think every developer goes through this, of having that self-doubt, not really knowing if they're good enough to be where they are, good enough to be working. So a bit of imposter syndrome is coming every now and again. But my way of combating that is just admitting it to myself that I'm still new at this. I did a boot camp. Everything I know has been learnt within the last 12 months. So if I don't know how to do something, or something is a bit complicated, there's no shame in asking. There's no shame in taking a step back and admitting to yourself that you don't know. I mean, it's completely reasonable, and it's something that, if you're getting hired as a bootcamp graduate or as a self-taught programmer, they're not going to expect you to come in on day one and be a genius. They're not going to expect you by the end of month one to be a genius and know everything yet. Obviously, it's a slow build, it's a gradual process, and I feel that's what's happened for me. That I still have those doubts, I still kind of sometimes feel like I don't know what's the right thing to do or how I should do something. Maybe the solutions that I'm putting together might feel a bit hacky, but when you consult with your team members, or I ask somebody else in my team, hey, can you see this through? Or you consult with somebody else to kind of work out a solution. It's okay to just remind yourself and remind them, look, I'm still new at this. I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, but can you help me to learn? And that's kind of how I get over that self-doubt. So again, it's been a really good 6 months, bit of a roller coaster, but I'd say my main takeaway from it is that I'm really happy. It's the first time that I've been in a job where, I don't feel annoyed about getting up in the morning and going to work. It's good fun. I love what I'm doing. I love the projects that we're working on. And I love the knowledge that every day that I'm at work, I'm learning something that will also help me in my own life. If I want to move on and do something else, learning programming has just been really good fun on a personal level. And it's really good fun to know that that's what I do as well as a profession. So I'd say 6 months in, I'm still happy. I'm still happy I did this. I'm still happy I decided to go ahead and go and be a programmer and be a web developer. And I don't know, let's see where I'm in another 6 months. I think a really important thing to remember was when you first start out on the road to becoming a developer, whether it be a web developer or a backend developer or a Java, anything developer, anything to do with computers and programming, it's a real marathon. You got to take it slow. It's not a sprint. You're not going to know everything overnight. It's taken me 6 months to get to a place where I'm feeling comfortable with AngularJS as a framework. And I know there are tons of other frameworks out there that have barely scratched the surface on. I've looked a little bit into Angular 2, 4, 5, whatever it is now at work. And just as a side to get to know AngularJS, my mind is being blown by something else. So this profession, this career is a real marathon. It's not a sprint. You've got to take it slow and just take it one day at a time. I think if you enjoy what you're doing and you're getting into this industry for the right reasons, then the sky's the limit really. And just enjoy yourself and have fun. That's certainly what I try and aim to do every day at work. So yeah, that's the quick follow-up. Me 6 months down the line as a web developer. If you're also starting out, let me know below. I'd love to, answer any questions you might be having. If there's anyone that's a year in, let me know how it's going to be in another 6 months' time. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and subscribe. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.